Hello and welcome to Cosplay Well Beyond. My name's James. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok as James Ginger Cosplayer, and this is a brand new podcast exploring the world of cosplay, comic cons, and everything in between. And join me in this very first special crossover episode with Beyond Disabilities, a very talented cosplayer, amazing photographer who also has ADHD. So please welcome the amazing Amber, otherwise known as Wildling Creative Photography on Instagram. Please can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Amber. As you know, I'm a photographer, and I also do dabble in cosplay these days now, as well. And I also host my own events, which is going to be exciting. A lot of new stuff coming up, and a whole new realm for me.
That sounds
So
amazing. It's a very
yeah,
exciting time. And like full
yeah,
respect for doing cosplay photography and hosting your own events, so like the triple threat. Let's go back to
yeah.
the very
It,
beginning. How did you start with your photography? How did you find out about cosplaying? And what was your reason for going into photography?
well, to start off with, it was just like I needed a hobby and something to do with my time, because it was just like pre-COVID when it first
Yeah,
started. And I was like walking down the street, and my next door but one neighbor, he is a professional photographer and the president of a camera club. He said to me, "Why don't you try it out? Try out photography, see if you like it. I can lend you the camera for the time
yeah,
being and see if you like it." I ended up carrying on with the club, getting quite far with the club, to be honest. Winning lots of competitions,
oh wow,
uh, hosting like portrait nights, going on trips, places, and then eventually I was given the role of event secretary, and I planned all of the competitions and events through that, which was a success. I really enjoyed doing that. I felt really good for
yeah,
being part of something like that. And then my friends were going to SecretCon in March of this year, yeah, this year,
this year,
and yeah, and that was my first ever dipping my toe into the water into photography and that kind of thing.
yeah,
Um, so when I went to SecretCon, I was oblivious to what to expect. I didn't know what, I was really throwing myself in the deep end.
yeah,
And and basically, I came out of there. I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing! I know where I can go with this. I'm going to start doing more and more this sort of thing."
yeah,
So I started working with the people that I worked with at the con, and then it kind of snowballed. And my next con was Telford. I did a bit of photography there
yeah,
just to see what con photography was about, in a more public sense rather than what Secret Con was offering.
yeah,
And it went down like a storm. I was like, right, okay, this is where I need to be. And I just like upped my game completely from that point. I decided that I wanted to like push myself skill wise and my confidence. And just it was a life changing moment for me. HorrorCon was my first ever cosplaying um, moment.
yeah.
Sorry, my dog's just decided to
That's okay. We
join
love
us.
dogs on it.
Oh, he's got to lay down.
Oh, for sure.
Um, um, well, he's gone now. Sorry.
It's okay, no problem.
um, so I've lost my train of thought now. First ever cosplaying event where I've actually cosplayed myself, and it was Silent Hill Nurse. I built the whole thing from scratch. I got a few things from what's it called? Not Etsy.
Vintage?
I can't. Vinted. That's the
Yeah,
one. I got the dress from Vinted, and then I weathered it all myself,
yeah,
and and I painted it and made it all bloody and everything, and then I built the actual mask myself. Unfortunately, that didn't go really to plan. The mask itself was a task in I cling filmed my face.
Oh wow.
And I wrapped it up in bandages and then doused myself in liquid latex. It was a disaster, but we worked with it, and I think it looks amazing. But I think I'm going to upgrade that eventually to something a bit more
Definitely looks
comfortable as
amazing.
well. Not bad for the first try. Not bad for a botch job, but yeah,
Doesn't look botched at all.
I love it. It's my favourite cosplay. I don't think that'll ever be put aside anymore because it's like my first one. So. And then I did MegaCon, and I actually brought out the Moth Mama. So I don't know if anybody's seen that, to be honest, but that's like an own creation from Fallout.
Which you looked incredible.
Thank you. God, the contacts themselves were a pain, but I'm getting used to the whole cosplay pains of things now. But yeah, and that's the first time I actually did cosplay photography at the same time as cosplaying. So definitely challenging. But I really enjoyed it. I don't know where else to go with this, to be honest. I just love photography and cosplay, and it just really gets my creative juices flowing. I can be a bit more creative with cosplayers.
No, I think that's what makes you so unique, is that you've started off behind the camera, now sort of been in front of the camera with your cosplays, and now with your events, you're like organizing things. So you've been to events, especially like Secret Con, which is primarily like photography, cosplay based. So you can like bring everything from all three of those, and just like you're just like the perfect like combination of all three, because you can relate to every side of it.
Definitely. Yeah, I feel like that benefits me a lot, because it makes me realize how the person in front of the camera feels.
Yeah,
because it's quite vulnerable being in front of the camera. It's not easy. I much prefer being behind it, but it's definitely an experience, and it just makes me a better photographer because I get a bit more understanding of how the actual model feels. So yeah, the event side of things is going to be interesting, because not only am I going to be hosting the events, I'm actually cosplaying and taking photos while I'm there. So it's like I'm bringing all those elements into it, but I'm also being part of it as well. So it's just not like I'm sitting in the background and letting everybody do their own thing. I want to be in with the action.
Hands on. Absolutely. Yeah. Best way to be. So like I said, like this, no, that's really interesting. And I think that's what makes you specifically so unique. Like I said, you're like the perfect combination. Like you understand every single side of it, which like obviously some photographers don't do cosplay, some cosplayers don't do photography, and I don't really know any photographers and cosplayers who do their own events. So like, it's just like really unique and like amazing, and your events are going to be amazing. Just know it. Like I said, this is going to be. Sorry, go. So like I said, like episode is going to be talk about disabilities as well. And I know, like you said, we talked about, like you've got ADHD. So when did you get diagnosed with ADHD? And do you remember the diagnosis process at all? And do you remember how it emotionally affected you?
Well, I got diagnosed at the age of 30. For years and years and years, I've struggled. It's always been put down to like various issues like depression, anxiety. Oh, it's just your hormones. It just like it got to a point where I was like, I need to know what's going on with me. I know that something's wrong.
Yeah.
Why can't I function like a normal human being? You know? So I went privately in the end because I wasn't getting anywhere with the NHS.
Yeah.
And it was quite a process. I can't remember much of it because it's all a bit of a blur, but I went through the DSM strategy that they use to diagnose, and pretty much that's like, yep, you've got inattentive ADHD, which all along I was like, had an inkling that something like that would be the case, but when it actually, I found out as well, it was like I was grieving in a way, like of what could have been if if I knew.
Yeah.
But then I turned that into a positive. But then I made it a positive. I was like, hold on, right, now I know what's wrong with me. I can build on this and do something about it. Find my focus, find something I'm passionate about, like photography, for instance. Because when I got diagnosed, it was like in the beginning of that. So I think that pushed me more into going into photography. And I haven't looked back, and it's helped me so much with my ADHD. I'm becoming more confident as well.
Yeah.
I've noticed that I'm not as worried about social situations and things like that. And I think it's been the making of me. I know that sounds really self obsessed in a way, but I do feel like it's been the making of me. It's made me realize the potential. That you can do things, even though you've got this. You know what you've got now, and it's just like giving you a bit of a shake, really. Onwards and upwards.
No, that's really good. Like, no, I know what you mean about grieving. It's a bit like it's odd to describe if you like don't have a disability. That I got diagnosed in mine like early on, but had friends who've been diagnosed late as well. And they feel like they would have known earlier. It's like grieving something you didn't know you had, but then something clicked into place. And it's like, oh, that's why I act a certain way, or oh, that's why I do certain things.
Yeah, so that's exactly how I felt. I was like, oh, that makes a lot more sense now. It's like that jigsaw piece is finally just like clicked in place. No, it's not the be all and end all that you get diagnosed or not. It's just, it's like, it helps. It definitely helps.
Definitely. I know what you mean. So, I know you were diagnosed at 30, but what was it like growing up undiagnosed, like with ADHD? Like, did you have any challenges like at school? And if so, was there support in place that even though you were undiagnosed?
Well, unfortunately, I was a bit of a loner, and I got bullied a lot, and I was always the outcast. I've never really fit in, and I never knew why. And I spent most of my time in the art department in breaks, and just spent a lot of time on my own. I didn't really go play out with friends or anything like that. I was very much on my own most of the time, and it was a very strange time for me. I wasn't academic. I was more artistic. So where I was really good at, it was like the art side of things, and then it was the English and English literature. I love being creative.
Yeah.
From like an early age, it's always been one of the stronger points of my personality. Is I'm artistic. I didn't do well in maths or science or anything like that, but I made up for it in other subjects. I came out of school with A's and B's.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
In art and design and English. So, it's not all bad. I was actually put onto a BTEC National Diploma in design, which was like 2 years above everybody else.
Fantastic.
My art teacher was like my kind of like my cheerleader throughout the whole thing,
Yeah.
And she did think I would struggle in an older setting. So from college onwards, I was with a lot more older people. So that was kind of like a little bit like socially, I don't know. It was hard. Because I was a lot younger than them. Yeah, a bit of a barrier.
Yeah.
So I didn't really make many friends, but the people I was with was very understanding and very lovely. But the age range was way too much of a gap between me and them.
Yeah.
And it was the same in uni, to be honest. So it's not like I really had a chance to have friendship groups
Yeah.
in college. So once I finished all that, I kind of like dropped it and went into retail, and
Yeah.
I started
same.
started just doing like, oh, pardon me. I started doing like retail work, and kind of for 12 years I didn't do anything with my art. Didn't do anything. I didn't even touch any of my artwork.
Yeah.
So for photography to come into my life, when it did, it kind of like started to spark off again,
Yeah.
So, and that's when things started looking up, started to feel more myself.
Oh, no, I can completely relate to a lot of that. Like, I think it's just literally been last 3 or 4 years, like socially, I feel like I'm happy, like with the friends group, and like I make friends with people similar to like with similar interests. I think cosplay has definitely helped a lot as well. And I like same as you, like with school and like college and uni, like I always felt like there was a bit of a gap, and like don't know, maybe that they just wanted to go out partying. So nothing wrong with that, especially at uni. But like for me, I was my art department was the library at school. Just
Yeah.
at that time there reading. I've lost my train of thought now. But yeah, literally, like, I do relate, and I didn't really. Similar to you, after uni, I left and went into retail. Didn't do anything with my writing, and then didn't start the like getting the idea for the podcast till I was did by during COVID. That and my job's nothing related to anything creative, but I enjoy it, and I enjoy like doing creative, and it does give me time to do stuff like this. So for me, cosplay, it's a form of escapism. Like especially Comic Cons as well. It's a place where no one judges you for like your size, cosplay, height, gender, etc. Overall. So why is cosplay and like Comic Cons important to you, and photography actually?
Well, pretty much the similar sort of thing. It's more of like a creative outlet, where no judgment is there. It's quite a strange thing to say, but I just feel like it's family.
Yeah.
It's like, you're with like-minded people, and everyone is so lovely and so genuine. I haven't met anybody yet that I've not been like, oh my God, that's amazing, kind of thing. The amount of work that people go to do their cosplays it's amazing. I can't describe how difficult that must be. Like for most people who have got these massive, huge cosplays and foam smithing and all this like 3D printing and all that lot, you see all that and you're like, wow, I'm with the right people, I'm with fellow creatives.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's much you can go wrong with cosplay, if I'm honest. I think it's a good group of people. I've met so many friends through it, so it makes a lot of sense to carry on doing it and making things for myself. Yeah.
I mean, you're one of those like incredible hardworking like cosplayers. I mean, like I know we like only met recently, but your Moth Mama just wow, and your Silent Hill Nurse just amazing. Like you can tell how much work and effort you put into that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, but like considering that it's like my first ever proper delve into cosplay itself, I think I've done okay considering.
Definitely.
I don't say myself to be like a professional in any shape or form, but I think the artistic background does help a little bit.
Definitely.
I can dip into things like that quite easily. My brain doesn't think normal, as you know. It's like it goes on a tangent. If I got an idea in my head, I've got to run with it, you know.
Yeah, no, I think that's amazing. It's definitely like a strength, and I think for like people with ADHD, autism, like any neurodivergent people, really, I think that definitely.
So would you say that your cosplay kind of starting point was kind of like a creative one as well?
So for me, I don't think I've really talked about my cosplay journey. No one's really asked me. I like it. Good. Uh, so it started way back when in COVID times, really, when TikTok started off. And just by coincidence, when I joined that, didn't make anything to start with. I saw cosplayers, and Tiff, who you met, who's like now one of my good friends who I met through there, was one of the first ones I saw, and Doctor Who cosplayer. And so then I started like interacting and got more and more cosplayers on my TikTok page. Then when things started lifting like restrictions, that's sort of where like, oh, I can do that. So decided just to take a jump. I think it was MCon in 2019, 2020. And that started off with it was so I decided to be sort of creative with my first one, and it was a Star Trek Doctor Who crossover. It wasn't amazing. The only Doctor Who thing was literally the sonic screwdriver. And the cosplay was see-through, so I had to wear a t-shirt and I was boiling all day that I didn't realise. But I ran with it for the whole day. And then that started it. And then I started my job in TV, so I didn't know suits anymore. I was like, oh, these suits like match Doctor Who characters. And then it sort of gradually built on there, went to charity shop. Some I bought like off the shelf, but more and more, like I'm making more of my own cosplays just from stuff I find online or in charity shops or eBay and things.
That's brilliant.
At MCM, I started venturing into wigs, and yeah, now I'm just becoming more and more sort of confident and like making my TikToks. That helps a lot, and like being part of the cosplay community, like you said, like it does feel like a family, and like the majority are all like really friendly and sort of like we all cheerlead each other. So yeah, that's
exactly.
my cosplay journey in a nutshell.
That's awesome. You've done well to get that far in such a short period of time as well. I'm pretty proud of you.
Oh, I'm proud of you too. Like, honestly, like, you're doing brilliantly. Like you've done so much in like such an even shorter period of time. Like fantastic.
I call myself a whirlwind for a reason.
Whirlwinds are the best kind of people.
I'm like the Tasmanian devil of the cosplay photography world.
You now have to cosplay as the Tasmanian devil.
Oh my god!
With your
I'm not making the
noise. That'd be more.
Oh my god, that'd be like ICM. It's like chaotic.
That'd be amazing.
Like something from a horror movie.
Do in the worst way
possible. Oh god, yeah.
Oh, so do you think ADHD is hard to diagnose in women? What a segue that is. Do you think ADHD is hard to diagnose in women? If so, why?
I think because of like hormonal issues and depression being quite prominent in the female anatomy, you know, it gets pushed under the carpet a lot. That's why a lot of women get late diagnosed, is because it can be brushed off as other things. Like a lot of people have been basically diagnosed with the wrong thing, and they're wondering why it's not working when they have the medication for it, because it's not built for that purpose. So they're not getting any better, especially when it comes to depression and anxiety. Those two medications are SSRIs, so you know they're not going to work for that because it's not a serotonin imbalance; it's a dopamine imbalance. So, you know, how are you going to fix that? So that's why many women get stuck with really bad diagnoses for something that isn't the case.
Yeah.
I was lucky in the way that I got diagnosed through a private, but many people on the NHS just get the same story of, oh, it's a 2-year waiting list. Just try these antidepressants for the time being. You'll be fine with those until we find out if it really is that. If you're any better, then we know it's depression or anxiety or whatever.
Yeah.
This is from personal experience because it's always been the case. And like they're just like, I don't want to say it messily, but they are pill pushers for women.
Yeah.
They say, oh, here's the pill. Here's some antidepressants. Go on your way. It's never actually taken seriously, unfortunately.
No.
But I'm hoping it changes soon because there is a lot of it in the news. As with the whole ADHD awareness thing, but I don't see it changing anytime soon. I highly recommend, if you feel like you've got ADHD, treat it as if you have. And I hope for the best that you manage to get NHS help or go private. Because you know your own body at the end of the day. You know if something's not right. And if you fit that criteria, try it. Just try and deal with it yourself for the time being. That's all I can say on that subject, to be honest, because I'm fully diagnosed. So I feel like a bit of a hypocrite saying it.
Oh, you're not a hypocrite at all. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I started this podcast, is like spread awareness of disabilities, especially for people who don't, and hopefully make somehow disability podcast anyway, a small change into like how people are diagnosed. And that's why I feature so many like women on the podcast, because I think it, like the diagnosis model, whether it's autism, ADHD, or whatever, I think it is primarily male like keyed, and that is more tailored towards men, and like just it needs to change so it's like universal, not just keyed toward either gender, because it's not fair, and like so many women especially are suffering because of it.
Yeah, it's a very, very male orientated DSM as well, because it goes by like hyperactivity and things like that, and it's like, what about the internally hyperactive people, you know? My brain goes 100 miles an hour. I might be inattentive, but in here, it's a totally different story.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you diagnose that if it just focuses on the external symptoms?
Yeah, exactly. It's a very flawed system.
No, I agree with you completely. Can you tell me if your ADHD has affected your friendships, and if you or your friends have had to make any of the adjustments to each other's behaviour to support you with your disability?
People are aware of the fact, and I don't really know if anybody changes the way that they act around me, which is nice. But they are like aware that I do struggle in social situations. I get overwhelmed. I struggle with like communicating through, like chats and things like that. I'm not consistent, and they get that,
Nothing wrong with that.
It's just part of who I am. And they're really understanding about it. And like, I do a lot. I do too much, and my friends are always telling me off to kind of like chill out a bit and not do as much and to make time for myself. But that's probably the only thing that they do to kind of support in that way, and they're just very understanding and very welcoming of the fact that I have it. It's never been a slamming the door in my face kind of feeling.
Yeah. No, that's really nice to hear. And say I'm similar with my friends, like they're aware of like my disabilities, and like they're very patient. Like, but I don't think they change their behavior. They just treat me as if I was me, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, which is really lovely to hear.
It's nice. Some people are unfortunate in the fact that their friend groups kind of like don't really agree, and sometimes they're like, it's just an excuse. But I feel like more friendship groups should be like that. And I especially find that there are a lot more people who are like-minded like myself and yourself
Yeah.
in the cosplay community, because it's that creative outlet. It's that feeling of not needing to mask and be something else around them. You can just be your authentic self.
Absolutely. It's the best way to be, really. Like,
Yeah.
should be able to just be ourselves and be accepted, and nobody should have problems. It, like, unfortunately, I've had people in the past, and it's just, they're not worth it. Just find people like yourself who are accepted, patient, and like willing to accept you for who you are.
Yeah, exactly. And if they don't accept you for who you are, they're not worth your time.
Absolutely.
You know,
not.
it's like being at ADHD. You have that vibe. I don't know what it is. It's like a superpower. You can tell a room is off like straight away. It's like I guess spidey senses.
I'm the opposite.
and like I know something's wrong. I can feel the vibe straight away.
Yeah.
So I try to avoid that, or try and get myself out of the situation where I feel like there's something off.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, that's good. I think we've both like found who we are, and who we are is amazing, and it is a secret power. Absolutely agree.
Yeah. Exactly. There is a lot of things. There's more plus sides to ADHD than there is negatives. Granted, the negatives are pretty bad.
I feel that same with the autism. Trust me.
Yeah, but it's like, on the other hand, there's so much you can achieve with your superpowers that you have.
Yeah.
And you have kind of like an unfair advantage with a lot of things. Yeah. So it's a powerful tool sometimes.
I agree with you. So on the whole, the cosplay community is a very supportive one. Why do you think cosplayers are so supportive of each other and, like you said, feel like a family?
I think it's because we're all on the same wavelength. Like, for instance, my biggest thing is horror. I absolutely love horror, and the fact that I found a community
Couldn't
that
tell.
couldn't tell, not at all. just the gory horror cosplays that I do. Just a bit of a telltale, and the style of photography I do as well. So that kind of like breathes out the horror thing. So yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Sorry.
I'm great at putting people off the questions. So why do you think the cosplay community is supportive?
I think because we all have our favorite cosplays and series and things like that we like to watch. With me, it's horror.
Yeah,
and the group. I'm part of a horror chat.
Yeah,
on Instagram. The Horrible horror group.
Brilliant.
Horror group, which is amazing. I've made so many friends through that. And that's why I took part in the horror meet at MegaCon. Is because every single one of those people are amazing, and they've been so supportive, and I feel like they are really my family. You know.
Yeah.
They're out to help each other and chat, and it's nice. It's nice.
Yeah.
Good people.
Oh, that's really lovely to hear.
Mm-hmm. If I could change anything, I wouldn't, because they're so friendly.
Oh, that's really great to hear. That I'm part of a couple of groups like on Instagram and other platforms and too. And I know what you mean. It just feels like we're all supportive of each other. We all share tips and always hype up each other's cosplays. It's amazing. It's just there's not really other type of hobby or creative thing where people do that. It's just it's really nice.
it's very unique, isn't it? It's kind of like that confidence that you lack in real life. It
Yeah.
completely goes when you're around your people. Basically, it changes how you feel about yourself as a person, and all those horrible thoughts of like, am I good enough? Do people really like me? It all goes away
Yeah.
when you're with them. So that's nice.
No, I feel exactly the same way. So this is the last sort of disability related question. The rest are all cosplay based. What would you say your proudest moments and biggest achievements, and how does your ADHD contribute to your life?
Oh, wow. I'd
Going with the
say,
big questions.
wow. So ADHD has changed my life in so many ways. So much so that I am now my proudest moment.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever felt as like, I don't know, successful. Is that it? Is that
Yeah, I
the
know what you
word?
mean. Yeah.
Like, I feel like everything I've done up to this point has made me who I am.
Yeah.
And I think that's made me a stronger person for it. So I'd say my proudest moment is actually getting into photography in the cosplayer world,
Yeah.
and creating a place for horror cosplayers as well. Because I'm gonna plug it now because like
Plug
my
away.
event my events like that are gonna come up, they're all gonna be themed and related and celebrating the horror cosplayers because they are the different side of cosplay for me.
Yeah.
They are the ones that don't get enough love when they should because the amount of work that goes into the cosplays is
Yeah.
unbelievable. And it's not just going into that mindset of playing the character. You're acting that character out. So it's a lot. There's a lot of like in depth dark thoughts you've got to think to get into that position of being that character.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot out of you. Um, and I'm proud to be part of that side of things. So I may as well um, make my own events for those people and celebrate that. Although a little tiny little hint for November, although it's not fully horror, there will be a horror element, and I'll push that more
Yeah.
because that's gonna be like a really cool thing. I'm all for like vampires and big ball gowns and proper like ghouls and
Yeah.
ghosts and things like that. Just think like Scrooge with Marley and Marley, that sort of thing.
Love that you
But
quoted Muppets Christmas Carol.
yes, I love the Muppets Christmas Carol.
Favorite Christmas
Always
Carol.
put on. Yeah. Always, every Christmas has to go on. But yeah, there's horror elements in that, you know. There's
Yeah.
like the ghosts of Christmas past, future, and they're very ghostly and
Oh,
dark, you know.
definitely. Yeah.
So
Probably the
adding
darkest
that
Muppet
in,
movie.
yeah, definitely. So having that element to what is like a grand and kind of like out there kind of thing, where it's going to be like a little dark snippet to it is going to be interesting because it opens up a lot of doors. Like it's not just for the horror community.
No.
You can be whatever you want to be, but I will be pushing for myself included. I will be dressing up in a really gothic kind of big horror Halloween gown, basically. I look like the goddess of death.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Look
think
incredible.
I'm so excited. It's unreal. So the amount of things that's going on this year is blowing my mind.
Yeah.
So the fact that I get to do all this, I'm so proud of myself, you know.
So you should
That's
be.
probably this is the highlight of my entire adulthood, and that's saying something. I feel like I'm getting somewhere in my life now.
Yeah.
I found my calling. So that's where I'd say that my ADHD helps as well, because it helps me stay focused. I'm hyper focused on it now. There's no stopping me. You can't stop me now. That's it.
No, it's brilliant. No, it's great. And like your determination and like passion and like to be commended. Like you've gone from photography to cosplayer to hosting your own events. It's amazing. And I do agree with you. I think the horror cosplay community is very underrepresented in terms of specialty, like events and things, because it is mostly, I think, seen a big shift. I think it is now more, and no disrespect because some of them are amazing, but I think it is more like anime cosplayers that get all the attention and get the representation, like the specific comic cons developed and events like specifically tailored to them, like even like the mainstream comic cons like MegaCon and MCM and things like that, they get more like voice over artists like invited that are anime. They get more panels and sort of meet up, like more people attend them, which is nothing wrong because like anime is great, but I think it does sort of dwarf like other fandoms and like aspects of the cosplay community. And that's I think brilliant that you're doing your own events tailored towards it.
I do feel like there is a big shift now as well. I feel like that it's more mainstream. A lot of mainstream stuff. There's not a lot of niche kind of cosplayers out there, and I've noticed that in the short time of actually going to cons, I've got like a full awareness of what's popular and what's not now.
Yeah,
I know I've only been to a few, but I'm very. I don't feel like I'm knowledgeable enough to say this.
Yeah,
I think that the less represented people are horror and those who are doing other cosplays other than anime.
Yeah,
and anime is big. Anime is big, but personally, I don't really shoot anime.
Yeah,
mainly because
I
don't have enough knowledge of it, and I like to have a lot of knowledge over who I'm shooting with. So a lot of my work that I do, I have a lot of knowledge with. So it's a there's definitely a lot more calling for horror stuff these days as well.
Oh, definitely.
Now, yeah,
I think horror is definitely coming, but like through mainstream media and like films. I think more and more. I think horror's not that it ever went away, but I think it's definitely had a resurgence in recent years. I think.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
with like games and films and things, and like even franchises that said they were ending but coming back, like with Saw in September and Silent Hill with the games. I think they're definitely coming up and up again.
Yeah, I feel like it's needed, you know. I think we've had enough of the old films. We need something special, something a bit different. I'm quietly confident about the Saw movie. I'm not sure how it's going to go, but I've heard some good things.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping it's going to work out. And I'm looking forward to the cosplays that people come up with.
Come on, Billy cosplays.
Yes, we need you.
I know, it's like I'm rewatching all the Saw films again just in preparation for number 10. Just I can't wait, honestly.
So, like, the weekend that my event is on, the first event at the Haunted School, it falls on that weekend when it comes out. So I'm going to make sure that I go to the cinema. Yeah, Saw Patrol, yeah. So, love that reference. It's as bad as Barbenheimer. But, yeah, I'm going to be going to see it the night before the event.
Yeah.
It might even inspire me to do some interesting shots. So
no, that'd be amazing. And like, just not to spoil anyone who hasn't watched the Saw films, like looking at where it's supposed to take place, it's on. I don't know if it's a sequel, prequel, or anything in between. Like it could be anything. But
I've heard some things, and I've heard that it's a multitude of all four
Yeah,
references there. But yeah, I do feel like this is going to be an interesting one because it could be in the past and it could be in the future.
I know.
It could be that, but like I don't know. It feels like it's going to be a good one.
I agree, and I don't think Lionsgate would have brought it back if there wasn't a call for it. And I think there was a call for it because it's weird to say, which I don't think is that weird. Like the franchise is a very much loved franchise.
Yeah, it's lost its way a little bit because I feel like the Evil Dead Rise kind of like smothered everybody,
Yeah,
literally,
absolutely.
and then nothing else came out of any decent films. The
Yeah,
Bogeyman was meant to be okay, but I just feel like it's I feel we need proper horrors back
yeah,
now. So
I agree, and I think we're going to get that. I hope so anyway. So, do
yeah,
you
I hope
have
so
any
too.
tips for anyone new to cosplaying, and any advice for those who want to cosplay on a budget?
Oh, I would say don't worry too much about being canon. Um, at the end of the day, you can only do what you're physically possibly to do, and you should be proud of it anyway. It's your rendition of your most loved character. So, I forgot what I'm saying now.
Sorry.
Threw me off. So it doesn't really have to be canon, as I was saying. You can only do what you want to do, and you want to make it look half decent.
Yeah,
And like my saw, what am I saying?
you've got to do
My
a soul cosplay.
I know I'm telling any secrets now. Um, that's meant to be a secret. I didn't say that.
Editing.
But yeah, edit it out, please. So, for instance, with Silent Hill Nurse, that nurse's mask isn't canon. It's not. It's just my representation of
Yeah,
it, and that's all it should be. You know, it's how you feel it represents your love for it, rather than it being, 100% accurate.
yeah,
It doesn't have to be.
not at all.
And I think it's important that you love it anyway. Your characters are, if you love your characters, it shouldn't matter, you know?
I completely agree with you. I think that yeah, as long as you're happy, that's what matters. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
if your character is a different shade of brown suit or it's like not got enough buttons, or it doesn't matter if it's not canon or screen accurate. Absolutely not. As long as you're happy with it, that's what
Yeah.
matters, and it's showing your love for like show, book, TV show fandom. Like that's what matters, and that's whose opinion you should care about, rather than worried that
Yeah.
you're going to get judged by other people like in the community of Connor saying, oh, just because you didn't spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds on like a screen accurate like
Yeah.
representation, it doesn't matter at all. Like I completely agree with you on that point. I think there's some fans who forget that and like can be judgmental of other cosplayers, which is completely wrong.
Yeah, I agree there. And like when I was at MegaCon and I did Moth Mama, um, she wasn't really recognized. I had one or two people say in Mothman we trust, but that's about it. And I don't think it was a recognizable
Yeah,
cryptid, you know. Even though Mothman is kind of a cool character, you know.
yeah,
I actually did it as like a little on a whim thing because we did like in the chat it was like, oh, your horoscope to what cryptid you was, and
yeah.
mine was Mothman.
Oh wow.
And so I was like, okay, so Mothman is kind of my horoscope, so may as well
Why
try
not?
it.
Do it.
And it just snowballed from there. I know it's not exactly screen accurate or
Doesn't matter. You
in the
look
history
amazing.
books. Yeah, I do love Moth Mama. She's pretty. But I have got a lot of things in the works, mind. I have got a lot of things in the
No, don't
works.
watch his space.
So watch this space. Yeah, there's a lot going on in the background.
And I'm
I
sure they'll look
can't.
as amazing as your other cosplay.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. A lot of work going into them. So yeah.
Oh, that's exciting to hear.
Secret Con is going to be unusual because it's not horror. So
Oh, that's going to be interesting.
yeah.
Won't be able to recognise you.
I know. I'm going to be completely grey as well, which is going to be hilarious. I'm going to have fun trying to do that. I'm going to be Chiana from Farscape.
Oh wow, that's interesting. I like it.
It's
Very
old
niche.
school. It's very niche. Yeah, I don't think there's many people who will be cosplaying that because it's, for me, an iconic series.
Definitely.
And I know there's Firefly group going on in cosplay over there. I'll be shooting with them, but I'll be also in full cosplay at the same time. Once again, I throw myself in the deep end.
It's the best way to be. As long as you have fun, that's what matters, and that's what makes you so unique. That you do just throw yourself in the deep end.
Yeah, it's the best way forward. Why not push yourself?
Completely agree. Talking about Comic Cons, so we met properly at MegaCon. What's your favorite Comic Con you've been to, and why?
Oh, it has to be HorrorCon. It was like my first ever con where I felt, oh, I'm at home here. This is cool. Yeah. I like all these things. I like all the stalls, all the speakers. Just being around people in horror cosplay throughout the whole thing. It just like dedicated to horror. It just blew my mind how much fun I had. And I actually did cosplay one day and just talk the following day. I felt like a bit of a spare part the following day because I wanted to be in cosplay again and still shoot, I wanted to be part of it, but I had a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to the next one in next year, and for the love of horror this year as well. I'm going to be going to that. So another fun horror based con. So yeah, that's that. I like mainstream stuff as long as a lot of the horror community are going. I will be happily cosplaying. But if, for instance, there's not many people that I know, I'll just go as myself and enjoy
nothing wrong with
shooting with people anyway. So I think it's important to be there in both scenarios anyway. I'm not a genreist, if that's a word.
It's now a word. I know what you mean.
Genreist, yeah. That's going to be a money word.
Put it on word of the day.
Yeah,
I agree with you. Like similar to what you're saying, that as long as people are there, I'll cosplay. Like, say, quite a few cosplays. Obviously, like I'm a fan of Doctor Who and like the Doctor Who cosplays. A lot of the cons I've been to, like, it hasn't really been massive Doctor Who representation. It just looked like I've been wearing a suit or a jacket, which I'm just fancy. What can I say?
Fancy.
That's one of the reasons why I wanted to do the Doctor Who meet up at MegaCon. Like, I've been trying since last December to try and get a meet up organised, and look, not a lot of people replied. Fair enough, but MegaCon were like, yeah, we really want that. So thank you to MegaCon for letting me organise Doctor Who. I'm just plugging myself now. Organise the Doctor Who meet up, and it was amazing, and it makes me want to do more in the future, and like especially this year being the 6th year. Just felt like it was important.
I do feel like you had a good turnout, Ryan. You did well.
Oh, thank you. No, I was blown away with like everyone who came, and like thank you to everyone if you're listening to this. Like for coming, like honestly, it meant the world. You were all amazing, and like you were amazing for taking the photos. And honestly, I've had people ask me to go to Scotland and Wales and organise them. It's crazy.
That's mad. See, it opens doors. You see, it opens lots of doors for you.
I mean, I'd love to.
I think you'd suit well with that kind of thing. So.
Oh, thank you very much. That's really kind. Honestly, I had a blast. And yeah, Doctor Who, if you're watching, if you want to do any official things with me, feel free to just contact me. I'm going to edit that bit out.
Selfless plug.
Just going to edit that bit out. Russell T. Davis, if you're listening, just hit me up.
Oh dear, that's funny.
This is why I shouldn't be treated with unlimited time on a record, and I just rant about that. Back to the podcast. What would be your dream? What would be your dream Comic Con? Who would you invite? What stalls would you have, and what would be your general vibe?
Oh God, I don't know. That's kind of taken me back. So I would say that my dream Comic Con, if I was to build my own, it would be a combination of like workshops for photographers, where there's like different backdrops, different scenes, like with proper props from films and things like that. And it would be all horror based, kind of related kind of things. And also I'd do like a separate room where there was sci-fi as well. Okay. So I would do like that sort of thing. And then for the stalls, I would make, I know this sounds daft, I would make sure that I'm able to eat. Because I have the most awkwardest dietary requirements known to man. So everything will be like catered for. Everything will be available for me to eat. I want gluten and dairy free donuts. I want lots of like burgers and stuff like that. Nice things that I can eat. And just make it accessible for everybody. Normal food as well. I'm not gonna like make people eat gluten free and dairy free stuff just for the sake of it. But I'd also like with the stalls, I'd make sure that they're like maybe a tattoo artist, a piercer.
Oh wow, that'd be awesome.
Have lots of funky different stalls, like where they're all like small players rather than big players, you know. None of this commercialized stuff. Really get artists out there and get them enjoying all the love, because they deserve all the love.
I agree with that. No, that's what I loved about MegaCon, I think. Like, not to just favourite one con, but it has been my favourite con that I've been to so far. Commercial one, because I love SecretCon, but I don't class that as in the same league. It's like, you know what I mean? I think they're completely different events, because it's more photography based rather than like MegaCon being commercial. I think there wasn't like, they're all independent stores. There wasn't like, not to disrespect anybody who buys pop figures, but there weren't like hundreds and hundreds of pop figures stalls like other cons have been to. But no, I think it was really nice as well.
Yeah,
sorry.
I always say to buy from smaller vendors and the independent artists rather than the commercial, because it's a bit more meaningful for them.
Definitely.
I think it's good though, because like the amount of pops that people come out with is ridiculous. Sorry, I'm a lover of people who have actually got their collections, and it's quite impressive. But like at the end of the day, who made that? You know,
absolutely.
Where's the heart and soul in it?
And that's why I'm the same. I tried to buy from like the little independent ones, like. I had one of the best bath bombs, like a TARDIS bath bomb from one of the stalls at MegaCon, and it's one of the best bath bombs I've had. Got a hand-painted Doctor Who bookmark, again from an independent one. So I agree. Champion independent small businesses is the way to go. So what advice would you give to any new con goers?
Oh, pace yourself. Go for the weekend pass. Don't try and fit it all in one day, because you'll burn yourself out. As for being a cosplayer, I would definitely do a weekend, because then you're not rushing around just one day. It's less stressful for you guys. And photographers definitely do 2 days, because you never know what's going to come up. Because you might see somebody one day and not the other, and it's impressive. Some of the cosplays you see, I find that people do a bit more of a chilled cosplay on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And they go all out on a Saturday. So if you are going to be togging or cosplaying, it's best to just go all out on a Saturday and just walk around and enjoy the stores on the Sunday. That's what I would do.
No, I think that's very good advice. I agree.
Yeah.
You see some people who is their first con and they just throw themselves in and then they're knackered. It's just like, I agree. Pace yourself. If you can, like try and go both days. But even if you just go one day, just don't try and do everything everywhere all at once.
Yeah, I found that with MegaCon, I did go at a more relaxed pace.
Yeah.
Oh, pardon me. But I did find that it was very difficult to relax because I want to do this. Oh, there's this thing on. So you just need to like think to yourself logically: am I going to be burnt out by the end of this or not?
Very good advice.
Just relax. Take your time. Chill. Sit, eat, drink.
Make sure to eat and drink.
Yeah. Don't do what I did for my first ever con and just forget to eat and proper burnout. So I've learned my mistakes.
I know so many people forget to do that, and it is easily done because you're all like immersed in like the con atmosphere. But there's like, you need to make sure to have time for yourself and not get burnt out so easily.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you will be feeling it at the end of it. So, do you have any funny stories that have happened to you at a Comic Con or about any cosplays you've done?
I have an embarrassing one.
If you want to tell it.
I was at HorrorCon, and because I had my mask on, I couldn't see a thing. Because I also put a blind contact in. So my limited vision is almost non-existent when I've got this on. And I really desperately needed to go and get myself a drink.
Yeah.
I couldn't guide myself. I had to ask a random person to guide me. And I was so embarrassed by that. And I was like, oh my God. And because I wasn't paying attention to where I was walking, I tripped over something.
Oh no.
and I ended up on the floor, and I was in like a big heap. A sightless heap, basically. I was scrambling around trying to get up.
Oh no.
Couldn't work out where I was. It was hilarious. But thankfully I had shorts on underneath my dress because, that cosplay is not exactly unreal. Under there is not. It's not great. You don't want to fall over that without any shorts on. Put it that way.
Oh no!
Yeah, that's the only thing that's happened to me. They did. They helped me, and just note to self next time: just make sure you just have somebody with you at all times, rather than trusting a randomer. Take in the right direction. I think they just forgot that I couldn't see for a moment, and that split second, that was it. Bang! It was gone.
Oh,
where's she gone? Yeah,
just can't trust random people these days.
I know. But from then on, I've learned to just take my mask off whenever I needed to go get a drink.
That's a learning point.
Yeah, definitely a learning point. You'll find that if I am wearing nurse at cons, you'll see me without the mask. But I'll make sure I have all the makeup and things. I'll only wear the mask for shoots.
That's fair enough.
So it's impossible to wear. You can't breathe in it. It's uncomfortable. The pain that cosplayers go through is unreal. I stand the commitment to the role. So
I feel like that with my Spider-Man mask. I only wear it for shoots. Same, I can't properly breathe in it.
It's impossible, isn't it?
Same with the vision. I can just about see, but it's not the best. I love wearing it, and I won't not wear it if I want to at a con or shoot.
Yeah, exactly. do you. That's what I say. Always do you. It doesn't matter what anyone thinks.
Exactly.
Yeah, you
100% agree. So last question, we've reached the end. So I mean, I say last question, last set of questions.
Well,
what's your next Comic Con? If you want to, you don't have to, but what's on your cos plan list? What are your wishes for the future? And then the next set's all to do with disability. So the cosplay last question.
So, my next I have to think then. My next Comic Con, well, it's actually not a Comic Con, it's actually Secret Con. So I'll be doing Secret Con and then my own event after that. So it's mainly just like photography based stuff for September. I was meant to be really busy with other things, but I've got some top secret things going on at the beginning of the month. And I can't really divulge on anything, but it's exciting stuff. I'm very, very excited about that. And then I think that's going to be the most mental month for me, to be honest, September, because I'm here, there, and everywhere. But it's all good. It's all experience.
Absolutely.
Doing what I love. And then October is going to be interesting. Another thing I can't divulge, but I will be doing another studio session as well. So my proper Comic Con will be for the love of horror.
Yeah.
That'll be my next proper one. So yeah, excited about that one. And maybe bring in a new character for the love of horror.
That'll be
I can't go too much into it, but there will be an extra fun thing, and I did give a little hint to what it could be earlier, accidentally. So yes, it should be fun. And I have a lot of plans for the future for very many different cons, so watch this space for that.
Sounds very interesting. Excited to see what you create and like what happens with you in the future. So these are more disability
just I'm looking forward to finally getting out there to more cons, put it that way.
That'd be amazing, and I'm sure all of your cosplays will look incredible based on your first too. So
thank you.
In the future, what would you like to achieve, and do you think anything needs to change to help support you and others with ADHD?
For me, I want to be able to get somewhere with this events thing and hopefully manage it. ADHD does get in the way of a lot of things, especially when planning and keeping on top of things, trying to find that balance, that healthy balance between work and play. Because I do find that I am very much hyper focused on the whole Comic-Con and events planning. It's kind of like the other side of my life. It needs a little bit more balance. Where do I see myself in the future? Making this successful, making my life successful, and raising awareness to ADHD would be pretty special as well. Adding that into the mix somewhere. I don't know how I'm going to do that yet, but I'm sure my brain will decide one day that that's how it's going to work.
No, brilliant goals.
Yeah. If there's more people out there who need support for ADHD, I'm happy to help as well.
That's really lovely of you.
So, yeah, I don't really know where else to go with.
That's okay.
My future plans, to be honest, because
they're brilliant ones.
I only work here a couple of months in advance because I can't cope with the amount of pressure. So yeah, I'm hoping that it's successful and it doesn't flop, because I've got so many big plans ahead. So many plans.
I'm sure it won't flop, and you've come so far in such a very short amount of time. Like from photographer, like what about only a few years, really, like less than
Yeah,
that.
it's 2019.
Yeah. And
It's
like
not
now
been
you're
long.
hosting your first event. Like that's a big like stepping stone, which is just incredible. Like you should be proud of
Yeah,
yourself for achieving that.
yeah. It's not been easy. It's really not. I mean, to be honest with you, the first event just blew up straight away.
Yeah,
Whereas I'm finding, I think people are wanting to wait and see how the first one goes before um, committing to the second one, which is
yeah, it's understandable.
understandable. I can completely understand why people are doing that. But in order for it to happen, I need the support for it. So
Yeah,
it needs to be plugged.
the circle.
So yeah,
Absolutely. So talking about plugging, thank you so much, Am, for coming onto the podcast. I really appreciate. Where can they find you and all the information about your events, your photography?
okay. So a lot of my work is on Instagram platform. So I go by Wilding Creative Photography on Instagram. I also have an events page on Instagram, which is events_WCP. And you can see what we have to offer on the actual page, but there is a link to the website on the bio with a lot more information about up and coming events, our behind the scenes kind of thing. What we've been working on is all going to be on YouTube as well eventually. Once we go up and running, it'll be more social thing as well.
Yeah.
So watch this space with that. There's going to be some exciting changes on that page, and I'm hoping you guys want to kind of join in and help me create something a bit special, something unique.
No, thank you
Yeah,
again so much for coming on the podcast. Really appreciate it.
yeah. Thank you for having me. I'm not very confident on the phone or for the video, so
You've been
this is a
amazing.
big step for me, massive step. So hopefully it'll help me in the future
No,
to
it's
do more
amazing.
podcasts.
Absolutely.
So
Definitely recommend you as a photographer from personal experience. And I've had good things and reviews about like your studio shoots, and I'm sure your like location shoot's going to be amazing as well.
yeah, I'm hoping everything happens for a reason,
Absolutely.
and I'm hoping this is going to blow up. If I'm honest,
I'm sure it will.
Yeah.
Thank you. So that's it. That's the first episode of Cosplayer World Beyond done. The next episodes will be out next year. So enjoy the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who tonight. Thank you so much to Amber again for coming onto the podcast. To Tiff, otherwise known as Cosplayer Tiff, for helping me with the questions. Please give her a follow. She's an amazing cosplayer. And if you'd like to listen to any of my other podcasts, like Beyond Disabilities X and Beyond the TARDIS, they're all available on Spotify, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. And please subscribe to keep up to date with new podcasts. You can find all my updates on Beyond Disabilities X on Instagram. Thank you so much for listening. Hope you have a good rest of your day.